And we're in. I'm in.
I'm out. I'm in.
And let's center you slightly better here, dude. That's on my end, not on your end. Yeah. I'm also all grizzly today. Believe it or not. Oh yeah, no, I haven't shaved in a while, and I was like, I'm gonna shave just before stream today, and then I totally fucking didn't. No sound for Scott. We gotta get sound in for Scott here. And I know how to do that. Haha. Mongani just subscribed. Well, what I have to do... Of course that cat's coming in.
Yep. Thanks, Mongani. As well. What do I have to say? Well, I have lots to say to folks as we get into it. But you know, mostly just excited to be here, excited to be looking at that scooter sound. This is good. This means I'm here. Hello. Anathale is here as well. Hello. I recognize that name from Twitter.
I think the music should be better now. Hopefully it's still audible, but no longer audible over Scott.
Yeah, give us a little...
Well, the sound effect sounds are always going to be loud. That I can't help. That's just going to have to be a big old fuck.
Excuse me?
Big old fuck. I like how the closed caption for some reason decided that was a big O Google fuck.
Oh, but fuck is fine.
Yeah. It would normally be on a different channel. We had to do some cobbling together because we are, of course, remote at this time. But we have... Pyres still has 1 health level taken away from
damage. Yeah, right, that sounds like me.
Oh, it's the light coming in from there. Is it? Oh, because this is falling over. Ah, my light.
Bye, John. Pyres, please. Okay, I'm responding to some things in chat here. Cassie Mouse asking the real questions. We're gonna find out today. Mongani just says Pyres, please. You're welcome. Had not been on Academy screens because I was too far behind. That's cool. NFL, as has been pointed out probably a few times, even in the Discord, there will be a 60-second recap of Season 1 that we're going to put together at some point in the coming weeks. Is he coming back? I can run this from here, though. It's okay.
There we go.
Oh, hello.
We're back. We're back. We're back in action.
I'm back.
I'm in.
Now, it's funny that you say that, Mongani, because it is just Pyres always being injured, but I feel like that's also a thing with my other characters, which tells me something about myself.
I just like the idea that Pyres is always like, well, I've always got to be a little bit of a bad boy. You know, the one bandage, like right over the eyebrow right here. That's the one health level that he has out.
It's just like a little thing, a little cut there. It's so cute.
I remember, was it Nelly who like started that? And like that was a thing that, you know, wearing a bandage on the face at all times was seen as a thing. But
yeah, I think that's right. I do remember that. It was very odd. I never personally thought it looked cool, but you know, I don't know much about fashion. Oh,
I mean, Scooter Beard is always on point when he has one, and when he doesn't have one,
when he doesn't have one,
he doesn't need one.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've taken this off, actually. I will point out for folks in the chat, like, I'm sure this is incredibly obvious, but behind me, there is a wall in this room that I'm in, but I've put up the green screen because there's also, like, a filing cabinet that hasn't been, like, arranged properly yet. And there's just a bit of, like, stuff back there, so I thought I'd hide it away a little bit.
I haven't put one up today because I didn't. That's all I can tell you. That's all I've got. That's all I've got. But I still have at least at least you can see some gaming books that are behind me over here.
Happy holiday day to you, John.
It's true. It is a holiday. It is Fête Nationale here in Quebec. So that's part of the reason why I got to spend today, instead of working, sitting on tech support with an extremely unhelpful person for like 3 hours. But
God damn it.
It's fine. It's fine. It turns out I didn't have to do it in the first place.
Oh, okay. That's frustrating.
I mean, moving in takes a while, right?
Yeah.
Like I was surprised simultaneously how quickly I felt like, okay, well, I'm like 50% moved in. That took very little time. And then that remaining 50% takes like a year. So.
Well, I mean, and I won't, again, we don't need to, I'll save it for like a personal stream where I just talk about myself for 2 hours. JK, that's all my streams. But like, this is the first time in a long time that Liz and I have bought new furniture. We had to assemble stuff, which Kate and some other friends Kate and friend of the stream, Jess, really helped us with ages ago. But we've had things to assemble, we've had boxes to unpack, fine. But there's outdoor space here as well, which is something that's very new to me. So, I've been navigating that. So there you go.
Now I'm just picturing every once in a while, yeah, Scott wanders off sometimes. He gets lost, but
well,
we installed a geofence around, so the shock collar goes off if he strays too far.
I do actually, that is one of my tasks for when I'm feeling a little bit more energetic. I'm going to go flag out the corners of our terrain. Neither Kung Fu Fenris. This is, I'm not going to say full forest, but I am going to say pretty forested up here, which is kind of fun.
You have definitely moved to a semi-rural area.
Yes, we are quite close to a couple of large kind of cities and towns or whatever, but
no, not large cities.
No, not large cities. No, Saint Jerome is not that far either. Anyway, it's beautiful up here and we're very happy, but it takes some getting used to. And also I'm a little I think all's gonna be good, folks, but I did get my second shot quite recently, so I'm a little zonked today, but I'm really looking forward to this because after we wrapped season 1 of Exalted Academy, I've kind of, we had other stuff going on, so I've put Exalted on the back burner, but looking over material today and in previous days has been super exciting.
I was going to say, why would you bother getting vaccinated? I don't even think you have 5G service out there.
God damn it.
Fuck.
What if I want people to know where I am at all times? Maybe that's what it is. Really?
Well, what we've got today, we did this last clinic hours with Kate. We're doing it again with you, Scott. We're going to have a look and see what we can see about getting your character converted to Exalted Essence. Now, we are not, in fact, doing a conversion similar to what you would have seen in the appendix. We're basically building your character from scratch, with the mind of trying to make sure that we are getting as close to your character as we can get, because we want to make sure that you still have that feeling of continuity between the two seasons. Obviously, there are going to be changes. We can't avoid it, because if the system changes, the underlying structure of the character is absolutely going to have to change. There will be things that Pyres can do that he wasn't able to do before. There will be things that Pyres can't do that he was able to do before. We're just going to be hand-waving retconning that. We don't really have much of a choice. And I don't really feel like having and then the storm, where all fire aspect Dragon Blood's changed.
What?
We're just not going to do that.
Right, this is right before the Fire Nation attacked, isn't it?
Yeah.
I get it now.
You're the Fire Nation. We'll imagine a training montage and all that. It'll work, right? That's how
I think that's how that works.
That's how that always works. But we're going to do it as if we were just basically creating a character. We've already established a session 0, so we kind of already know your lines and your veils for this, even though we're going to be doing another session 0 for Exalted Academy Season 2, just to get ourselves situated. But for now, let's have a look at what we can do with your character as it stands. So the step 1 is concept. We kind of already know what Pyres' concept is. In fact, let's actually have a look at your sheet. There we go. We'll pop that up on here. This is the sheet that Kate made, which I'm a huge fan of.
Yes, it looks great.
And it just is going to help us get to the point where we can, slap this down, because there isn't an official sheet yet. That's only going to be coming once the PDF is basically complete. But we knew this. We knew this in advance. So it will be fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Okay, John. Jeez.
Now, you had a concept before.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just get your... I just need a larger version of your character sheet open on mine. There we go. Okay, so your concept that you've written in here is a passionate commander dreaming of something more. So we're basically going to keep that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of ticks all the boxes in terms of like what the original idea was, and I think those are all still true. Commander always feels very like commander. No, it feels very mature to me, and Pyres is young, but like it felt like it was still the right word.
I don't think that's necessarily a problem.
Yeah.
There are different versions of Commander. We also don't know yet if we're going to be doing a time skip, but we'll see what we have. So we already know what kind of Exalt you are. And as a result, we've also put in your advantages. So in terms of things like teamwork, gives more dice. You can discover 2 people in close range with heated emotions because you are a fire aspect. And you get your essence and successes to inspire crowds or persuade to act on ambitions.
Good.
When you have an active anima. And then when you're iconic, you subtract from soak and things catch fire because you're just, So what we need to do next after that, if we move on from your concept, is we're going to go to your attributes.
Okay.
Now, we do have, thankfully, we've still got it in our custom messages, so we'll pop it out here. When it comes to Essence 2, you're going to have 1 4 and 2 3s for your attributes.
Okay.
And for your abilities, we'll probably just go for a manual spread instead of the array that it's giving us. But for your attributes, if you want to assign a 4 and 2 3s, by all means. And of course, if you feel like you can't do that you need more or less in somewhere, then we can discuss it.
No, it feels pretty straightforward to me, at least for attributes. It's like I always thought this was like a funny part, because the 9 attributes in Exalted Third don't fit super neatly into these 3 categories. Like they kind of do, but they kind of don't. But definitely Force would be at 4, and the other 2 would be at 3, because that's how do I approach problems? Head on.
All right. Well, a Force at 4 and Finesse and Fortitude at 3 makes a lot of sense to me. That seems to be where Pyres kind of heads.
Bam.
So there we go. It's in. But now we have to shift over to abilities. So in terms of abilities, what you have right now, you're going to be asked to take your take your character here, and you're going to assign 25 ability dots. So, nope, 20. That's entirely not true. It's going to be 21 plus another 6, so that's going to be 28.
28. Okay. Oh, hey. It's the same as the starting spread for Essence 1 characters in 3rd.
Yep.
Weirdly. Okay, well, I mean, I think what I'd like to do, John, I have some immediate thoughts. I don't know if we want to skip around or if we want to go down the list and then kind of come back.
Oh, go for it. Just fire away.
Okay, well, I feel like the two sort of abilities that most encapsulate Pyres are Presence and Close Combat. So I would aim to put Presence at 5 and Close Combat at 4.
All right. So that's 9 out of your 28.
9 already.
And I think that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of what he's like really kind of trained. I mean, abilities represent like training and experience, right? I mean, some innate ability as well, but like,
yeah.
Okay. This is where it gets a little. There are some of these that I know I'm probably going to have zeros. That's
So why don't we
nice
actually go over that? Which are the ones that you know you're going to goose egg?
For now, I'm going to leave at 0. I'm just going to go down the list. Craft. Sagacity, and stealth.
Yeah, why would you ever want to hide? So we know that these are probably going to be kept down to 0.
Okay. I would put, let's see, athletics and war both at 3. Those feel like things that I've used a lot. Sorry for everyone who loves craft. I also love craft. I've just never taken it.
I've just never
gone for it. Next time, well, we'll talk about that.
Well, crafting now isn't in essence, if it runs the way I think it runs, it won't be nearly as ridiculous. But
I'm so excited for. Well, we'll talk ventures a little later, I think.
Yeah.
Ranged combat's probably going to be at 0 as well. I technically had a dot in throne before, but like, I don't think that's going to make the cut. We'll see how it goes.
I don't think I give a fuck.
Okay, let's see what else is importante. I think I gave myself awareness 2 and embassy 3. I know there's a mechanical reason to take integrity 3, but
integrity 3 will increase your resolve by 2. Integrity 1 will increase it by 1.
Okay. Well, let's put in 1 for now, and then I'll maybe add another dot in a few. Navigate, okay. I was going to take fewer dots, but I realized I had quite a bit of survival. So let's throw a second dot in navigate here. Performance will be 2 as well. And then physique covers like
feats of strength and resistance.
Feats of strength and resistance. Okay, well, not so much the resistance or the feats of strength. So I guess I'll throw 2 in there, and then let's see what I'm at, because I actually haven't been counting. I'm a fool.
So 5, 9, 12, 13, 15, 17, 19, 24, 25, 26, 27. You're 1 short.
Oh, not bad. Not bad at all.
No, not bad at all.
Well, I'm probably going to put a 2 up to a 3. That feels right. What would be the thing that Pyres did the most? You know what? It's a new season, John. Let's go performance 3, please. Because I feel like I know. I find it really interesting that performance and presence weren't melded. Like a lot of abilities had to get kind of, shunted together.
Mm-hmm.
How about crafts?
Mais por qué crafts?
Por qué no los crafts? It's a great spread. Feels good.
All right. Well, if we want to dive into this for a second, just to make sure that you've got what you're looking for.
Yeah.
Performance is your ability to influence others through artful expression like oratory, prose, music, or dance, as well as poetry or other written arts. It covers the character's ability to influence spirits through prayer, as well as work with ritual or folk magic. So,
oh wow,
oratory feels like that's where Pyres kind of falls in there.
Yeah.
Now, if we also go into Embassy, Embassy is your ability to navigate and negotiate social structures, large social systems, and bureaucratic procedures.
It's funny, the bureaucratic procedures, it doesn't feel like something Pyres would have a lot of like experience, or well, sorry, a lot of like interest in, but definitely a lot of experience in, right? Like being
interest does not necessarily equate experience.
That is true. That is correct. Yeah, sorry.
So does that still feel like that's something that Pyres would be able to navigate, like large social systems and social structures? So like the idea is at an embassy of 3, you would essentially be an accomplished politician. You know how to network and how to leverage favors.
Yeah, I don't know if I see it yet for Pyres. If we remove 1 dot, that gives us an extra dot to play with, which I would probably put into integrity, I imagine.
Okay. Integrity, just for what it's worth.
Yeah, tell me.
Integrity is your ability to withstand mental duress, magical manipulation, resist the influence of others, and it is also how you use integrity. You use integrity to read intentions. Right.
So I do remember we had this kind of conversation during the first season, and I was kind of like, I don't know, I'm not gonna go down the like read intentions route, and then I found ways of kind of playing with like reading emotions rather than intentions or whatever. No, that feels good to me,
because if, and this is just a question of
tell me,
not min-maxing, I guess, but remember that you do get a bonus to your resolve if you bump your integrity up to 3. So you have the option of pulling another dot away from something and putting your integrity up to 3 and getting that bonus if you so choose.
Yeah, I was thinking about like Pyres and resolve this morning when I was kind of looking at all this material, and I was like, no, you know what? I think he does have good resolve. He's just also, there must be things that people can like take advantage of, right? When we get to virtues and intimacies, there's things that people can take advantage of to lower his resolve.
Right.
So
he feels very strongly about things.
Yes. I would venture to say that is the core concept of the character. Okay,
a tear bender, if you will.
I'm starting to tear bend. Okay, let's do this. Integrity 3, yes. What's coming out, though? Maybe that 3rd dot of performance. Now, I know I just put it in, but I'm thinking if performance is all sorts of, like, if it's all sort of aspects of performance, he hasn't had a ton of training in anything beyond oratory yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks good. Here's the other thing. We can always go back if we need to make changes, especially if you notice that there are charms that you want and you aren't meeting requisites.
Right.
Or you're like, oh, I definitely want a better pool in that. We can return, right? So
yeah,
not too worried along those lines.
It's working for me.
After abilities is when you're supposed to get to charms. We're not going to do charms right away. We're going to come back to that because we're going to look at your merits and your virtues and intimacies first. So let's go on to your merits. Now, merits are a little bit different this time around. Merits, you get to pick a primary, a secondary, and 2 tertiary merits. One of the things that I said to Kate is that I may ask that you take, as a group, at least 2 secondary allies to reflect the fact that you still have Siantel and Flavienne with you. You also still have the option of taking other allies that include any of the characters who you potentially could be allied with from the end of season 1. So I'm not saying you have to take these allies right now, but I am saying that I may ask that you take those, but if you do, then it means that yes, you do have access to them without needing to, quest for it, I suppose is a way of putting it, right? Like, we still have a link to Seven Fingers or Quick Rat or whatever. Instead of having to be like, well, now we have to go and find them and they may be in hiding. Mm-hmm. So let's have a look at the different merits.
Yep.
I'll remind you that a primary merit is... So like merits actually have a little bit more. The reason why we have primary, secondary, and tertiary merits is because there are some game mechanics that interact with those. Like you can prevent death by instead, like, how earlier in Exalted 3rd Edition, you could take a scar.
Oh,
right?
I know.
Which you have done. But here you can actually injure your merits to save you. Right, so you could potentially have one of your primary merits explode in order to keep you in fighting condition.
Right.
Which, of course, that has also happened to Jorik to a certain extent, right?
Yeah.
Okay, a primary merit is going to have a dot rating of 5 to 3, a secondary from 4 to 2, and a tertiary at 2 to 1. But we're not really going to get hung up too much on the values here. Remember that you also get the sanctity of merits. I can't take your merits away without either replacing them or actually no, I can temporarily take them away.
Yeah,
I can't
sure.
permanently take them away unless I give you something else, essentially, right?
Yeah, because I paid good dots for those merits.
I paid good dots for that.
I think as Kate was also saying, like, in an attempt to remove a lot of the sort of supernatural or like physical merits from Exalted 3rd, the list is now much shorter. I still think that I can kind of like put everything in that I have. I don't know what the dot ratings are going to be, though. We'll have to kind of work that out.
All right. So what merits do you think would still have?
I'm gonna list 4, and then we can, because that'll be a primary, a secondary, and 2 tertiaries. But
go for it.
We can talk about it. Artifact, Hope and Abandon, right? Unless those are gone for some reason.
No.
Resources, that's probably a tertiary merit.
Mm-hmm.
And then Influence, House Cathak, because like I had that before. I wonder if that's still true.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have to look at that. And Contacts, either House of Bells or House Cathak or
all right.
But then you mentioned allies, and that's a really good point. I think we can maybe put some of this together.
Okay, so let's have a look. You definitely still have Hope and Abandon.
Yay.
I imagine that is probably your primary.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know whether it would be considered 3 or 4. Like, I don't know how the dot system works.
They would
honestly.
probably end up qualifying as a 4-dot merit. They have evocations that are useful and directly useful to you.
Right.
Now, for the rest, this is going to involve some information as to what happened at the end of Exalted Season 1, or Academy Season 1. So, this, by its very nature, means that we are going to have some spoilers here. I will wave my hands when we are finished discussing the events of the very end of Season 1. But otherwise, I would recommend that you mute the stream if you do not want it spoiled. It's not going to spoil the whole thing, but it's going to have some information that you may not want necessarily to know right away. So until I wave again, remain on mute. Now, you have essentially been driven into hiding.
Yeah. Straight up.
We don't know to what extent you need to hide, but some of what you take in terms of your merits may actually help dictate this. You can still be in contact with other people from the House of Bells, but they have scattered. The House of Bells itself no longer exists in that form. Angel says, is Artifact allowed to be a primary merit? Yes, it can be.
So.
Yes, it absolutely can be. It can be a primary, secondary, or tertiary merit.
So you make a good point then, John, because like that would dictate, like I'm not going to take backing House of Bells. Obviously, it no longer kind of exists in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Pyres would, and again when we get into season 2, I think we're going to figure out, like you said, if there's a time jump or whatever. I feel like Pyres would prioritize staying in contact with people because he understands the value of working with other people.
Right. So that would absolutely fall under contacts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for contacts, name a group, and when gathering information on a subject, if that group could feasibly know, you get to add that to your roll. So it's essentially information,
right,
that this group would be aware of. So we could make those contacts House of Bells, former House of Bells students.
Right. There you go.
And what level do you want that to be at?
I'm gonna say tertiary because I want to double back to the idea of allies that you've mentioned.
Okay.
As like a secondary, because they're relatively powerful allies that we have in Flavienne and Siontel.
So Flavienne and Siontel would qualify as a secondary. They are what would be considered a third level ally. They're young exalts.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Nice.
So we can, just for the sake of it, we'll put Flavienne in here for now.
Cool.
Nice. Which leaves you with 1 tertiary merit left.
When we talk about what happens at the end of Exalted Witch Academy Season 1, it's interesting because all of a sudden things like resources, which I imagined was like, a stipend from my family, influence or backing from House Cathak, like those things start to get really nebulous.
Right.
Like difficult, I mean, right? In the context of I'm not going to go home and be like, Mummy, can I have some more jade? You know what I mean? I want to go explore. Although maybe I should. So
I would say that it would make some sense that you have temporarily lost either access to your influence with House Cathak or your resources.
Right.
Based on where we ended.
And then potentially keep the other.
Yeah.
I'm just going to look back at my merits from lot casting from season 1, just to see what I had here. Oh, I remember that. That was good. I'm going to make a note of this merit for myself later. I think that I'll keep the influence because I feel like Pyres is still loyal to the house. So he'd sooner give up his money, his ability to purchase things than his ability to sort of go back if he needs to.
So at the moment you've been cut off.
Yeah, that sounds like it. I mean, that's gonna really I'm gonna clock that before we start just to think about, does that make sense? But I think so, yeah.
Fuck. Shit.
I realized too I wrote the passive, active, and iconic in the wrong place, but I see where it belongs now, and I will fix that up later.
That's fine. We'll worry about that later.
Oh yeah.
Your essence 2, so we'll put that in here.
Yes.
Okay, so those are your merits right now.
Hey.
We've got Hope and Abandon, which you still have a hold of. You have put Flavienne on your sheet currently. Again, we'll discuss with the other players, and if we find that this seems an unreasonable ask, then we can always figure out another merit for you in its stead. You do have influence still with House Cathak, which is interesting, seeing as how there have been some questions as to your situation, but that's fine. And you have contacts with former House of Bell students. So that's the end of the spoiler at this time. So, spoiler over.
Boop.
And now we go on to your virtues and your intimacies.
All right.
Now, we're not going to fill out all of your intimacies here because you have many.
Yes. For those people who did not necessarily have a look at our sheets on Lost Casting Atemi for season 1, first of all, go check it out. They're pinned in the Discord because it's really fun.
Yep.
But like, I made it my mission to be like, okay, what does Pyres care about? Literally everything, you know. I wrote a lot.
We can actually have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at what you've got here. So your defining intimacy was I am meant for more than what my house intends.
Mm-hmm.
Then we can go on for things like changing hearts over minds, first impressions. There's a lot, right? And a lot of ties that we have. A lot of
ties.
You have adoration for your weapons. That's hot. You get excited by battle. That's also hot. You have a bitter rivalry with Brevin.
That's also
caliente.
Very spicy.
You have a vendetta with Cathak Vieren.
Oh yeah. That bastard. Woo!
You may need to have a look at these intimacies and go over them and see which ones still apply and which ones do not. But that's
again, right? Like some of these are House of Bells specific. So
yeah, like maybe I don't know. Maybe you've let yourself go a bit and you don't really care as much about your physique.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
My physique, indifference,
whatever.
Yeah.
That's how I feel today.
I skip leg day. Occasionally.
God. Oh boy.
But we do have to assign you some virtues. Now,
yes.
Virtues being one of the more controversial aspects to the social influence system, in that these used to be a big part of Exalted and then were taken away and they're back. I actually don't know how much of a difference it is, because also you're supposed to slot certain intimacies under your major and then your minor virtue. And I don't actually know. I've checked. Maybe somebody in chat can correct me here, but I don't remember there being actually any mechanical advantage or mechanical difference to putting an intimacy under one virtue or the other. I think it's just a role-playing aid. The idea that if your desire for Brevin falls under your virtue of justice, then you desire him because you find him well suited to carrying out the laws that you've personally set for yourself. Whereas if you put it under, say, wonder, then you're just like, oh, his body's a wonderland.
And I want to play in it. Yeah, I was kind of questioning that in terms of like minor, virtues and their relation to intimacies, because of course intimacies, much like in third, can be used in social influence, right, to either bolster or detract from your resolve, which is great. I always thought that was cool.
And this can still be the case. You can actually pull from someone's virtue and from an intimacy.
Cool.
If I remember correctly.
I would have to check.
I can check it now, because
I'm gonna throw out some, like, I have thoughts about virtues. Specifically, my thoughts are some of confusion. Not confusion. Just like in terms of how we like encapsulate Pyres, because virtues I feel like are sort of, one way of looking at them would be a lens through which you see the world, right? Like some people see the world in terms of right and wrong, right? That would be justice. Batman, for example. Whereas wonder would be more like you see it through the lens of like, there's so much to learn, there's so much to discover. And not 100% sure, but I had some thoughts. So when you're ready, you can get in there.
So I have confirmed this. One of your virtues and one of your intimacies will apply.
Oh damn.
It is
wow.
the most intense of each one. So your major will apply over your minor, and a major intimacy will apply over a minor intimacy.
So if someone has like ambition as a major virtue, you can probably always tempt, if you know what it is, you could tempt them to do things based on that virtue.
That's right. And it would override their minor virtue.
Mm-hmm.
However, if you it adjusts up or down. So the idea that if you're acting against somebody's virtue and somebody's intimacy, then it'll be very difficult to deal with it.
Yeah.
Well, yes, because Shiranosha, the way that it works is your the intensity not only changes the number of additional successes you can get on the roll because it changes the difficulty, but then it also can affect other instances of social influence. So we got to pick a couple of virtues for you here.
Yeah. So
shall we go over the list?
Let's go over the list because it might shed a bit more light here.
All right. So the list of virtues that you can choose, there are 6 of them, or 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. So there is ambition. The Exalt desires greatness through action. There's, I'll go over all of them. You tell me which ones you're interested in. We can go over them in more detail. So compassion, putting yourself out for the sake of others. Courage, thriving in adversity. Discipline, valuing personal restraint and dedication. That sounds an awful lot like Pyres.
Personal restraint, yeah.
Justice, valuing laws and behaving righteously. Loyalty, dedicating yourself wholly to someone or something that you value. And wonder, viewing the world with a sense of wonder and curiosity.
So I'll toss out the 3 that I'm looking at here. Courage feels like a major virtue for Pyres.
Just straight up, you're ready.
Yeah, I think, like, again, if we're talking about like the lens through which you see the world, like Pyres sees the world as challenges to overcome, and being courageous is about meeting those things head on or not. You don't have to meet it head on, but like that feels right to me.
Okay. And do you have an idea about your minor virtue?
So this is where my question kind of came in, because like when I look back at my defining intimacy, I know what that means. Like my defining intimacy was I am meant for more than what my house intends. Mm-hmm. And that feels ambitious to me. Feels like ambition. But
okay.
But
I wonder if you're going to say what I was going to say.
Well, I'll throw it out there and then you tell me. It's a nebulous goal. There's no end point set, so it's not really ambitious. It's like ambitious but without an end goal in mind. That's what I was going to say.
I think it actually is more indicative of wonder.
That was my other thought. Very good. Yes. I
think that ambition to me would be like, I know that I will be great and I will be great at a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Ambition is about setting goals for yourself regularly and working towards overcoming them. And yeah, ambitious, surpass my house's expectations could be ambition too, absolutely. True. But I wonder if it's actually something more akin to wonder. So here's the description for wonder. The Exalt views the world with a sense of wonder and curiosity. She always tries to discover new things and treats all experiences as valuable for learning. She values learning, discover, adventure, and exploration. She can't stand to see the destruction of knowledge or the incurious. The reason why I would suggest that maybe wonder is something to consider, I'm not saying it's necessarily the answer, is that I think that perhaps it's about what Pyres' focus is. Is it, I will do something, or is it the joy in searching for what he might become?
I think that's been the journey over the first season of Academy. Like, I set that defining intimacy as a way of kind of challenging myself to, well, the character was someone who was intended for one thing and believed himself to be intended for something else, like to break free of his sister, to break free of his familial expectations, whatever. But I think you're right. I think the journey over the course of the season has been discovering that the joy of it is in the searching for that thing. He knows more and more like what he's good at. But I think it's becoming a more general sense of, as you put it, wonder and curiosity.
So is that what we would consider for your minor virtue at this point?
Let's put it in.
Now
I'm gonna roll it around a bit.
Yeah. Now that isn't to say that the intimacy of I will be more than what my house has for me can still absolutely be an intimacy, right? And it can still be a major intimacy. And we can slot it under either courage or wonder, whichever one you want. Although, admittedly, at this point, it matters less, right? I don't think you'd either role-playing aid. But I do think that courage and wonder are an interesting pairing and kind of indicative to me of where of where Pyres ended season 1 and is moving on towards season 2. Because the other thing is, virtues can still change. The only thing is, no one can change a virtue except you.
Right.
I can't use social influence to change your virtues. I straight up cannot. But if you decide during the course of play that Pyres is no longer focused on courage, but is now focused on, I don't know, justice, maybe he's decided that he is the law.
As you do. Then
these things can change, typically after a tumultuous story moment. But yeah, these virtues to me seem pretty interesting. They seem like they would be an interesting look at what we can do going forward.
What I like about the virtues as well, and I just want to throw this out there because I did a clinic hours ages ago now on like character goals, right?
It's been 84 years.
It's been, yeah. It feels, honestly, this last week feels like 84 years. Holy shit.
I bet.
But I like that the virtues are active. That's really cool to me. They feel like, they're descriptive words, but they feel like they have these built-in, directions for your character. It's not like, oh, you're a homebody and you like creature comforts, like that, which is fine. That's not a bad thing. I love creature comforts. But these are virtues that would take you out into the world, right? They're like external, which is cool. Arguably, something like loyalty might keep you changed to something potentially, but I think generally courage and wonder to me feels like someone who is going to march out there and adventure in the world, which is cool.
Right.
Yeah,
and I think that makes a certain amount of sense. I'll also say that at the moment you aren't copying Aresta's virtues, which is kind of handy.
Yeah, I will say I didn't get a chance to watch the entire clinic hours conversion, so I wasn't sure what her virtues were. So phew.
I mean, it would be all right. I don't think that that's necessarily a disqualifying thing if you share that sort of thing. But I don't feel that Aresta and Pyres have similar personalities, or even necessarily similar specific intimacies. So it does make sense that you don't share that tight a bond with your virtues.
Yeah.
So let's take that away, and we'll show your major virtue is courage, your minor virtue is wonder. We can feel free to paste some other stuff in there if we so choose. But in looking over what you have, I am meant for more than what my house intends still potentially could be absolutely a major intimacy for you. Yeah, you have quite a few, more than the 10 spaces or 9 spaces that you have on this sheet.
God damn it.
Which is fine. You'll just have to find another way to look at it. I don't actually think that there's no room on the back for it either. That's just charms. Hey, Alisai. Thanks for the follow. Where'd you get the sheet from? Kate made the sheet. And it is available on Google Sheets. She's making updates to it regularly, but it is available to have a look over. It'll be on our Discord. Would be the place to see for that.
Yeah.
It's pinned.
Yes. Yeah. I think in the Exalted Academy channel.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I think also in Crunch.
Oh yeah, that would do it. That'd be right. I think
yes, it's in Crunch.
Oh yeah. Okay, thank you. In terms of intimacies, yeah, I don't know if we want to go through these all right now or not, but like, I think my work here is going to be to consolidate some into like more, like not general, but like just consolidate them into things that are really important and figure out where do they slot in, right? Like courage and wonder, if I'm talking about like my hearthmates, or you know what I mean, like the people that matter to me, do they factor in under like a sense of wonder about trying to find out more about them, or courage in terms of like these are people I have to, these are obstacles, these people are allies in the challenges of the world.
Gilligood, it's good to see
you. Hello. It's going great, Gilligood.
No trouble. You have access to talking as RPGClinic. That is just fine. They fuel your courage. Okay, so we've had a look at your abilities. We've had a look at your merits. We've had a look at your virtues and intimacies. It's time to tackle your artifact.
Okay.
The reason why we're going to tackle your artifact is that we didn't get a chance to do that with Kate because we didn't have that chapter was not yet available.
Right.
Out there. So you have a pair of short diclaves.
Indeed.
Right.
We've been through a lot together. I'm pulling up my evocations just to remind myself. Oh yeah. Sweet.
So alongside that, it does mean that we're going to see it's possible that we don't so these would be tagged with short sword, for instance. It would be tagged with artifact. So we're not actually going to fill out the table, just to make sure that we know that you still have some armor. I believe you still have a breastplate, right?
Yep, that's right.
And that you also have access to your weapons, which I believe count as medium weapons.
Let's see what it says.
I would have to see here.
Yeah, medium close combat weapons include swords and spears and stuff, so I would say so.
Talking is a free action. I am a free action.
I am not a number.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that's from. That's right.
Yeah.
I am not a number. I am a free man. No, you're not.
Nope.
You are a number, sir.
Oh.
You fucked. So yeah, this makes sense. So yeah, I'm not gonna go too far into actually statting out the your weapons right now. We'll make some modifications to the evocations that you have access to.
Cool.
So that you think they're light artifact weapons. Ooh,
I was looking at mortal weapons, so I wonder if I need to zip through to artifact here. It doesn't say.
Dynast 24601. Yes, sir.
24601. Hello, real brick wall. Let's see what we got here. I'm looking through their like examples.
Oh, short swords are indeed light close combat weapons.
Well, shit. Would you look at that?
Well, then you're
I
wearing...
saw swords under medium, so I just kind of figured,
Yep.
you know.
It's funny.
Yeah.
There aren't... Where are the... Okay, there's heavy close combat weapons. Use the heavy weapon profile and add the two-handing or smashing tag to axe, sword, mace, hammer, spear, and klub.
Smashing.
But yeah, if you're wielding two short swords, then you would absolutely have a short blade up to 2 feet in length, used as a sidearm. But they're basically dual-wielded short swords. So there you go.
Okay. Yeah, I may have missed it here. I'm looking at like there's a table of like, which I know we'll look at later. There's like a table of stats for the categories, but presumably there's another table for artifact, because there used to be, but I haven't seen one. Maybe not.
I haven't seen one. Fuck you. That's every time I think of you. It's just that.
It's just fuck you. Is that?
I guess. Apparently.
Is that what this is? Alice, speaking as someone who has played a couple of campaigns of Exalted 3rd, and you know, both of which were right here on this very channel. Yeah, it can be a really wild ride, and we're really, I think, as a team, we're really looking forward to making sure that Essence can handle the wild and crazy ride that is that sort of thing. Thank you, Shirano Show. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so that's some choices for me. Well, Kung Fu Fenris, you know, technically true, I guess.
Well, we are absolutely going to be playing through Essence, Salisa.
Yes.
I can definitely reassure you with that.
Oh, yeah, sorry if that wasn't clear.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think it's charm time.
Woo!
So let's have a look at your charms. Now, here are the charms that you have access to. You get to have 2 of either an Excellency or Ox Body, and then you get to pick 9 more.
Okay.
So those 2 are not included in the 9 that you have access to.
Oh, I see. Oh.
Now, you can take additional Excellencies or Ox Body with those 9 if you so choose. But at the moment, I would actually recommend that you just go with your heart.
I'm just seeing how many I had on my list, and it's more than 9, but it's not like a million more than 9, so that's good. Okay,
I'm over 9.
I went through, kind of zipped through the universal charms as well as the terrestrial specific ones.
Mm-hmm.
How do we feel, John, about going through all the ones that I have on this list and thinking, does this make sense? Does this not make sense?
Thinking yay or nay?
Thinking yay or nay, exactly.
Do you have them kind of in a, like, are they just in a jumbled heap, or did you kind of put them in like specific order?
They're arranged by ability, but I have to
that's perfect.
Okay, so I have to remember where they're from.
That'll do nicely. So let's go.
Well, so in terms of our free ones, then, Ox Body, which provides a -1 health level and a -2 health level to terrestrials, which feels real nice.
Okay.
And then an Excellency in Presence. That was the first thing I thought to do. I was looking at a second Excellency as well, but we'll see if we get there.
All right. So why don't you fire your ideas of charms at me? We'll go over them, but why don't you just fire them off at me? I'll fill them in on the sheet. If you can do them by ability and just let me know which ability they are first, that would be handy.
Yes, I have to Where the hell is this?
Where the fuck?
Oh, am I looking at the... Sorry. Where is it? Oh, you know what? I think I'm looking at the wrong section here. 2 seconds, please. Aha! Yes, I was looking at the wrong section. Great. Okay, so in close combat, I have a few thoughts.
All right.
That one's a maybe, so I'm actually gonna leave that to the side for now. Excellent strike. Feels good.
Okay.
Oh, was that it? I think that was it. So I'll throw it in anyway. Arsenal summoning gesture is also a close combat.
So that you can summon your swords whenever you wish.
Yes.
All right. What's next?
What's next? This one is in many different abilities, so I just need to check where I first found it here. But anyway, motive discerning technique, I think, is embassy. Yeah. Or integrity. We're kind of doing this all at the same time here. Sorry. And then, what the hell?
The fuck?
Well, because I definitely wrote them in order, but now I'm looking at it going like, oh, are you sure, Scott? Let's see. Motive discerning technique, yes. And then I'm going to skip down to... Where did it go? Yeah, oh, can I take that? Oh, rip. Might not be able to take this. Oh, yes, I can. Greatness inspiring aura. This is a presence, although I found it somewhere else. Battalion breaking shout. I should be seeing where we're at here. Okay. I think I had... Where did it go? Was it called Glorious Presence? Glorious Presence technique. Makes sense.
Okay.
Okie dokie. Harmonious Presence meditation. I wrote down listener swaying argument. Listener swaying argument. Is that what I said? And then if I jump down to war, a couple of these are in there as well, but like I also put fearless vanguard technique.
Okay.
And then two more, which are both in terrestrial specific.
Yep.
So I'm just gonna find those super quick. Because I definitely was looking at the... Oh, well, I'll just tell you what they are. Fivefold resonance sense. And, as Gilligan points out, dragon graced weapon.
Okay.
Again. I wish I had taken page numbers down. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. I've got it here.
So you can control F here.
Yeah, I can just figure it out from here. That's not an issue. Yeah, not forgetting evocations.
Yeah, well, so there would be oh, fuck. Oh, balls. Yeah, because I had 2 on Hope and Abandon. Oh, it's gonna get
sure did.
Sure did.
Those were Passion Before Duty.
And
Conviction.
Yep.
Before Temperance.
You got it. You got it.
Passion Before Duty successfully inspires after you successfully inspire, it penalizes join battle. You can probably safely ditch that because join battle no longer exists.
Oh.
I mean, it does, but it doesn't have nearly the same advantage as it once did, right? It helps determine who acts first. Which
team acts first.
But right? I don't feel like that's probably a necessary thing for you to worry about. And then Conviction Before Temperance, if we look there, That's specifically if the wielder is touching any part of a bandit at the time of taking a threatened action and activates the evocation, they may grant up to essence times 2 allies 1 non-charm bonus die to all attacks for the remainder of combat, but you cannot voluntarily leave combat before achieving victory without spending all of your remaining willpower. Willpower is no longer a stat.
Right.
So we'll have to make changes to that evocation anyway, to make sure that it fits in with what we have here. What essentially, one of the things that we can kind of put forward is this evocation could potentially also fall by the wayside, and we can just make new ones as time goes on. If you would so choose, we're going to see what we have with the charms that we have for now. Okay. Can't leave combat without taking a hard bargain would absolutely be an equivalent.
A good way to do that, yeah.
Right. But or if you leave combat, then all of your enemies just gain 8 dice on their next roll.
Yo! Oh boy.
Thank you for the follow, Magical Captain King. Good to
Salute.
see you here. Okay, so if I count, we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 with that evocation, and you have a maximum of 9. So let's have a look at what we've got here and see what are things that you would like to keep, what things you would need to give up, and if you in fact can potentially even recreate Pyres with these 9. And we'll see if you have to make a change.
That's a good point, actually. I'm gonna zip over to what I had charms wise before as well. I feel like
Hey, thanks, Pramster. Bonne Saint-Jean.
Hey,
Go
thanks,
Habs go. On a les deux aujourd'hui. It is the Dream Run. The Montreal Canadiens might be able to close out their series against the Las Vegas Golden Knights today on the Fête Nationale.
Pretty exciting. I of course am not following hockey, but John, who do we think the other team in the finals is going to be?
It will either be the New York Islanders or the Tampa Bay Lightning. I currently favor the Islanders slightly.
Mm-hmm. Cool, but it's not like immediately obvious from that matchup how it's going to go.
Their next game is tomorrow, and that's their game 7.
Oh my god!
So they've gone the distance.
That's pretty exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, yeah. For me, it's just a feeling for the Islanders. I think it honestly could go either way.
Mm-hmm.
It's awfully close,
Mm-hmm.
but let's have a look here. First, let's go through the charms that you specifically highlighted. So, Excellent Strike. Excellent Strike basically doubles the extra successes after applying defense, but before any bonus successes are applied. This is essentially your way of being able to hit well with your sword, because you are not, in fact, a Fire Dragon martial artist.
Correct.
You have the option, if you wish, to retcon and move into Fire Dragon if you want to, because you no longer have to spend 4 merit points on martial artist. So it is something to consider. Not necessarily. I'm not going to push you either way, because honestly, I don't give a fuck. But you do have that as a potential option for Fire Dragon.
Yes, let's have a look at
Fire Dragon specifically. The first charm is Searing Edge Attack. You can force your opponent to lose 1 power or 1 mote if you successfully attack them. And if the target opponent's power is lower than yours, they lose both 1 power and 1 mote when hit. So essentially, it's ways to pull somebody down while you're attacking them. Fire Dragon Form means that for the scene, thank you for the follow, Conquest Publishing.
Conquest, hello.
If you, for the rest of the scene, if you make any withering attacks on your turn, you decrease your target's hardness by another 1 after all attacks resolve. And when you defend against decisive attacks, the attacker loses 1 power. And if you incapacitate a non-extra opponent, you gain anima.
Okay.
Fiery blade attack sets an opponent alight, basically. If your attack deals damage, if a decisive attack deals damage, your opponent catches a flame. It deals 3 damage per round and has a difficulty equal to your force, which is your primary attribute. The fire lasts until someone puts it out with an appropriate simple action at the same difficulty. Spirits suffer aggravated damage from fire, and you can target immaterial spirits with the charm. And then finally, overwhelming fire majesty stance. You commit a mote for the scene. Opponents in close range to you suffer a 3-die penalty when attacking you. Opponents at medium range suffer a 2-die penalty, and long range suffer a 1-die penalty. If you suffer damage from a close range attack, the searing heat lowers the attacker's defense by 2 until the start of their next turn. You can also spend 3 power to exhale flame that sears the dragon blood surroundings out to short range as a simple action, which we did see evidence of at one point in season 1. You need a combination of performance and athletics to buy the charms. Specifically, you need to have 4 fire dragon style. You have to have a combination of performance and athletics, which I will also point out at this time. You have a 3 in athletics and a 2 in performance, which means that you would meet the requisites for everything except for overwhelming fire majesty stance. You'd have to get 1 more dot in one of those 2 attributes.
And close combat 5, I noticed as well. But
that's right.
That's doable. I mean, this is pretty sweet. I feel like when I was
thanks, Trollord Games.
Hey, what's going on? Yeah, I feel like when I was building the character originally, I was like, oh, martial arts, I don't know. Like, I don't think he would have been trained in martial arts specifically, more of a general sort of like military.
Hit things and they fall down.
Yeah, more less rigid, right, in terms of training. And I'm looking at these like this is pretty sweet and feels very Pyres. So I might come back to this, John. I haven't kind of made my decision yet.
Well, let's hold on to it as an idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea.
I personally love the idea of Pyres as somebody who's like, I'm not a martial artist. This isn't about martial arts for me. This is about just executing well and taking them down. But I also love the idea of Pyres as somebody who, buys into because one thing that I have noticed about Pyres is that he very much is a fire aspect, like to the core.
Yes.
Right. And so it would be interesting if then there was sort of a further development along those lines as you move forward with your character, that you also follow the fire dragon style. But let's look at your other charms.
Let's do it.
For now.
This is very cool.
So Excellent Strike is a basic combat charm. I'm not going to say that it feels particularly Pyres, because they all feel particularly Pyres, right? Like, you need something to be able to do good at hitting things and making them fall down, and there you go. That's one way to do it. Arsenal Summoning Gesture essentially allows you to summon your weapon or armor, or both, and you can just put it on as either a reflexive action or a simple action, depending on where they are. You can also dissolve your weapon in an embodiment of your aspect, and when you recall it, you can do so from any embodiment of her element within medium range, gaining a power boost equal to your essence. So if you draw your weapon from fire, you get to start with 2 power right away. Which,
interestingly, I put a question mark next to this one only because, and I realize we're not doing a straight conversion necessarily, but I didn't have what I would consider to be the Exalted 3rd edition version of this charm.
No, you did not.
Which is whatever it's called. Doesn't mean I wouldn't have this. I think it's pretty sweet being able to bring it out of fire. But yeah, let's.
So we're going to call this a stretch goal.
Ah, very good.
For now, it's the sort of thing that if you have charms left over, then this might be perfect. And remember, this is an opportunity to make changes to your character. If we come across charms, you're like, well, I had this and I used it, but I don't think I'd ever use it again. Then you can drop them from your list, right? So don't worry about that too much right now. Cool. But it does seem like a pretty cool thing, specifically for Pyres to have. Motive, especially because it's very related to your weapons and you do like your weapons quite a bit.
Truth.
Motive discerning technique. So this is while you're interacting with another character, you roll your finesse and embassy. You get to ask a question, and during the scene you can expend additional successes to ask another one of these questions. So these are questions like, do we share a virtue? Do we share an intimacy? What haven't I noticed? How could I get them to do what I want? Does the character feel positively, negatively, or neutrally about me? And then later on, you can upgrade. Who's really in authority here? What do I have that someone here wants? What would constitute a grievous faux pas? What grudge is being hidden and who doesn't belong here? And then you can also ask, how are the character and I related? Because you are dragon-blooded.
Right.
You have access to blood intuition.
Yeah, I mean, this feels pretty right. Like, I don't think he's the kind of person who just stands on the side and observes everybody, but like in interacting with a character, obviously he's going to want to try to figure out what makes them tick and like, what their goals are.
So you feel pretty good about this one?
I feel pretty good about it for now, yeah.
All right, we'll give it a green background for now.
Morale boosting.
Greatness inspiring aura. So you commit a mote for the scene. You add 2 success bonus to inspire rolls to build power. Allies within short range who have a positive intimacy towards you may use your performance or presence when making their own inspire actions, drawing on your own eloquence and bearing. So this is very much taking the idea that Pyres would be inspiring others to do well in battle, as opposed to doing well himself. Because you can't use performance or presence to build your own power. I believe you can only use it to build others.
Oh, interesting.
I'm going to verify that for you just quickly right now.
Because you can, I mean, my understanding is you can build power through like social action, obviously, threatening or whatever, persuading and stuff. It's a good question, though.
So in terms of building power, if you are inspiring, you may distribute power to your allies only.
Okay.
So this is not about you building power for yourself. This is about you encouraging somebody else. Now, what I'll say is, I think that this is thematically quite appropriate for Pyres, but mechanically perhaps not. And so I would suggest that maybe this be on the bubble.
Yeah, let's keep it in the back pocket.
Because you can always buy it later.
That's true too.
You will get more charms, but I'm just saying that perhaps this isn't. This might not be what you are looking for right now.
Yeah, it's not quite the right thing.
Yeah, because I think Pyres likes to lead, and I think he likes to drag others into battle, but I don't think that he's the kind of person to let others fight for him.
Yes, like I'm getting real, if you'll pardon the comparison, I'm getting real like Bard vibes from it, right? Mm-hmm. The idea of the person who is kind of out of the thick of the action, inspiring their fellows, which is fine, but I think he also prefers to be in the thick of the action. Yeah, I agree with that.
So, battalion breaking shout. Battalion breaking shout. You spend a mote. You roll force and war or force and presence against a battle group's resolve. Success lowers their effective drill by 1 or by 2 if 3 or more extra successes are rolled. This penalty lasts until a commander takes a difficulty 5 war or presence-based action. So this is your ability to basically fuck up an opposing army by yelling at them real loud. How do you feel about that?
I definitely had charms that felt like that, take a threaten action with double nines or whatever. Like, this feels appropriate.
Okay, so this feels good for you.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
All right, so we'll slot that into the green.
Yeah. Did I miss one? I think I might have missed one. Sorry, just below that on the presents page, I'm noticing I may have not have written it down, but I don't know what this is. Cat's puffed tail. Can we add one in? Sorry.
Yeah, here, let me just go back here because I already moved on to the next one. So battalion breaking shout. Come on, come back to me. Okay, so cat's puffed tail. Spend a mote. On step 1 of a combat action, gain 2 bonus successes on a force-based or inspire build power roll. This does not count as your charm use for that step. It may also be used during a social influence action, granting 2 bonus successes on an attempt to instill, persuade, or threaten an opponent.
I just don't I see the flavor of it. I just don't know if I understand the flavor of this charm. Like, it just, it's like, spend a mote, get 2 successes. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure if I quite understand.
So a force-based build power roll essentially means that you look so intimidating that you build more power because people shrink back against you. It also lets you, during a social influence action, granting 2 bonus successes on an attempt to instill, persuade, or threaten an opponent. It's essentially, this is one that makes you look more badass and therefore be slightly more effective in gaining the upper hand in battle, or gaining the upper hand in an instill, persuade, or threaten. I feel like this is a great charm for Pyres. Because it's not only a combat charm, it's also something that you try to do a lot anyway, which is instilling or threatening or persuading.
Yeah. It's interesting. I wonder if I left it off because I felt like it was covered by other things, but like maybe I just misread what it does. It feels generally like super applicable all the time. I'm gonna take this.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely something
good.
that you would want to take. Let's look at Glorious Presence Technique. Glorious Presence Technique, you double your 9s on rolls to instill respect, awe, or obedience. If your anima is at the iconic level, you double 8s. And this, by the way, is not something that you have to activate. It's always present.
Oh, damn. Yeah, look at that. I mean, that's pretty good. So respect and obedience, like, I don't think those have come up before. Whoops, sorry. The number of times I've rolled to like inspire awe in people.
Right.
It's come up a lot. I feel like it's good. And this feels like, again, a way of translating over a lot of the like presence charms that I had before. Things to do with appearance and things to do with like, right?
Does this seem like on the same level as some of your other, like, yes, I'm definitely taking them charms?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Right.
I'm noticing that I'm at a point now where I'm like essentially all in on presence, but that's, you know what? That's okay.
That's I don't think that that's necessarily a problem.
We're gonna see where
Harmonious Presence Meditation. So you commit a mote for the scene. You can add an automatic success to all social influence, excluding read intentions actions. You can ignore up to 3 dice of mundane situational penalties to your social influence action because you are unfamiliar with what you're doing. And you gain 2 dice on an instill action to give the target a positive tie towards you, your hearthmates, or an organization you belong to because you're dragon-blooded.
Oh yeah, I see that. Instill action
feels like an excellent charm.
Yeah. Yeah, this kind of encapsulates, I think, the more like socialize aspects, which again, it's all been folded together, but like, charm is something Pyres had some of.
So listener swaying argument. You can reduce the cost of purchasing Persuade and Dissuade to 1 success, and an Intimacy or Virtue raises the difficulty of the influence. Add 1 additional success on step 4. So this essentially means that if you successfully roll against, if this is to add on a Persuade or Dissuade action,
right,
to an already existing roll, and it means that you are also even better at adding on somebody if they were already opposed to it to begin with.
Right.
Does this seem like a critical thing for Pyres?
No, not critical. No, I think, like, again, the flavor of it kind of reaches me a little bit. Like it reaches me. It like speaks to me a little bit. But I would count that as a maybe for now, and we'll return to it.
Right. One of the things that I can say also is that you will have the opportunity to buy more charms, right? Like this will come up. So we're looking at the charms that you need to feel like Pyres is complete right now. I'd argue that the previous charms really do feel very Pyres-y. This one, definitely good. Yeah. But not like, oh yeah, that's Pyres.
Oh yeah. That's funny. I'm just going back through my old charm list as well to remind myself, like, is there anything here that hasn't really been covered? The answer is yes, but we'll circle back around to that.
All right. Fearless Vanguard technique. When you lead soldiers into combat, you reveal the hidden depths of their courage. So you're going to commit a mode for the scene. During a dramatic scene, your soldiers gain a 2 success bonus to resolve against social influence that would frighten, distract, or confuse them so long as you lead them. If you're present when her battle groups make route checks, you gain 2 successes to the roll, which do not apply to the dice limit, and you reduce the penalty to flurry actions to command your troops by 1. You also treat... the exiled soldiers treat their minor virtue as loyalty to their commander.
Yeah,
and here's the thing. You don't command any soldiers. This wouldn't apply. I'm also going to say this would not apply necessarily to the other PCs.
Right. No, right, because they're not like
they're not a battle
organized force of exactly. Well, that's unfortunate. It's funny because this feels quite right to me, but of course you also make a good point. Like, when's the next time that I'm gonna be like, oh wow, look at this, like, oh maybe I can inspire enough like anger in some townsfolk to like get an army going, right? Like get a battle group going and then have this. But like, honestly,
I feel like this is definitely a charm you want to hold on to as a, when I start getting to the point where I have soldiers to command, I think you definitely want this.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
But I don't know if you need it right now because you don't have soldiers to command. No,
that is sad but true.
Yep.
Or as Mongani suggests, just grab command and well, actually, as a terrestrial, right, I get to like buy a merit every session. Buy a merit. You don't buy a merit. You like obtain one. So I'm just every session, John, I'm gonna be like, John, first thing, I'm gonna go find myself a 2-dot army. Every session. I'm gonna just do that every time. Horrible.
Fivefold resonance sense. You close your eyes and still your mind. By meditating, you can sense the presence of the elements nearby, scrutinizing their nature. You commit a mote, you meditate for a scene, and then you allow them to glean information based on the mode that you used. The Exalt may receive 3 bonus dice on a single roll to act on information provided by this charm. So that's things like predicting the weather, sensing impending storms, sensing nearby bonfire or larger pockets of accumulated heat, qualities of bodies of water, sense the qualities of vegetation nearby, geological qualities of the area. I have a question for you.
Tell me.
This is a good charm. Has Pyres ever spent a scene in meditative state so that he can gain information like this?
Literally never.
Is this something that you believe that Pyres would do?
No. No, I'm on the hunt for something that sort of helps replicate what I think Pyres' ability, like to in survival, in tracking, and kind of like being out there in the world, in his life, maybe NFL, not sure. It's if this was like a reflexive thing where you don't meditate and you just like know stuff, I feel like very much it would be him. Yeah, I don't think so.
So I'm actually going to suggest that this is not something that you would want to take right away.
No.
I think you might want to take it later if you find that that's something that Pyres starts to do more. Has Pyres ever thought about anything?
Anything?
Elizabeth, you make
Hey.
you make me feel happy in ways that I
You
cannot
make
express.
me feel- Oh, that's nice.
I
think.
But the thing is, I'm also being deliberately harsh because I want us to be like, oh, we have charms to spare, as opposed to, oh, but how do I hold all of these charms?
Right. No, for sure. Yeah. And then potentially taking like an evocation as well, and maybe going down the route of like the martial art.
Yeah.
Lots of possibilities.
Dragon Graced Weapon. Commit a mote. For the duration of the scene, the Exalt's weapon is wrapped in an element matching her aura. So you would have to enter into fire aura.
Mm-hmm.
At Essence 2, you may bless a Hearthmate's weapon with his charm as well. You can put fires surrounding the blade, empowering the wielder. You increase overwhelming by 1.
I mean, it feels good. Like what we were talking about before in terms of Fire Dragon style, it kind of mimics that, right?
Well, Fire Dragon style lets you enter fire aura.
That's true too. So I mean, these would kind of what's the word I'm looking for? They would go together. You know,
I feel like this is a great charm for Pyres, right? Like
Yeah.
this, I think it would be. Is it the Arresta Pyre shit? At least it's not, because I think Arresta Gale could be Alesta or Alestra, and that would be like the stuff that they used to put in chips in like the 90s, and then it like made people incontinent.
Ugh.
Because it was a way to basically make the body not absorb fat.
Oh God. No, thank you.
No, I think that this is a great idea, right?
Yeah.
Like absolutely, I would totally take this for Pyres. The idea of having his weapons just spring to life and fire, yeah, it makes sense. Total sense, right? Like absolutely. And being able to bless somebody else's weapon with fire,
Seems
also pretty
cool, too.
badass.
Yeah. I mean, let's talk about that. I was gonna call it a Gormal, but that's not what it's called. Let's talk about Arresta's Tetsubo for a second here. Just with fire going on. Hey, pretty sweet.
Now, of the charms that we looked at, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are, oh yeah, we got to take this. The other ones, I would argue that the only other one that I'm like, yes, this is something that you might want to consider taking, but maybe you don't, is Arsenal Summoning Gesture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because what I can suggest, and this is just a suggestion here, this is your character. Obviously, also after this stream, you're going to walk away from this and make some choices.
And change everything, yeah.
We're going to play through some combats, and you might be like, oh, this doesn't work the way that I wanted it to. Is you take Arsenal Summoning Gesture, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 brings you up to 7 charms.
Mm-hmm.
I'd recommend then adding the 2 first Fire Dragon style charms. Mm-hmm. We're going to say that your evocations for now, we're going to replace them.
Okay.
You will absolutely get the option to get more evocations. But the other thing that I'll say is I have to actually check this. I wonder whether you do have to buy evocations.
Because they're earned through
I think they're just
advancement?
part of your weapon. I'm going to check.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to say
Let's
that
do
and then
that.
be wrong.
Yeah, looking for that too.
Where?
I mean, pretty exciting. Yeah, circling back to something Gilligood said ages ago. I just want to address it really quickly. When I look at the charms that I had, that kind of made Pyres the way that he did. There were quite a few athletics charms, which were all kind of in the vein of rushing, right, or like kind of graceful, show-offy kind of movement. But I don't see a charm that really mimics that. So I'm maybe going to fold that into Fire Dragon style and play with that sort of idea.
I think that's absolutely legit. Yeah, Gilligood, I agree with you. Like it seems that some are gained automatically, some you have to buy. The rules aren't necessarily clear. One thing that I'm going to be pointing out is that as we're playing Essence, we're going to be playing Essence as an incomplete game. We will not have access to the final manuscript because it doesn't exist yet. So we're definitely going to be, patching things together, making changes as we go along because we don't have all the information. So what I'm going to say this. I'm going to give you and Liz, because you are buying, I assume that Liz is going to keep Soaring Eye for Gale Whispered.
I think so.
I'm going to give you an evocation free. It won't be a charm. It's going to be part of your weapon, your artifact weapon. We'll have to figure out what that evocation will take its form, because we'll have to rewrite it because obviously the system has changed and all that. But I'll give you one to start. Like, it will happen. And we'll leave any additional evocations to those weapons as future things that you would have to buy as if charms, unless we get word that has to change based on the rules.
Cool.
So we're going to say that you don't have to worry about it. You'll get an evocation.
Okay.
But that my suggestion is that your charms, we add
the
Searing Edge Attack.
That's the ticket. You've got them open there.
And Fire Dragon Form, which still gives you room to get to improve.
Well, I mean, that's for sure, right? And there's whole swaths of like abilities that I saw stuff and I was like, I probably wouldn't have that right away. Like, these are the things that jumped out to me as like either thematically or mechanically related to charms and like things that I had that I wanted to keep. And I'm glad we went through them because some of these didn't make sense in hindsight. So that's really good.
Now, things like Excellent Strike, which is currently not included, I think that you can buy those later on. Potentially, they will still potentially help you, right? The trick is you can't use a charm, more than one charm on the same step. But that's not necessarily going to be an issue right away.
Right.
So at this point, you have a level of Oxbody, you have an Excellency and Presence, you have Arsenal Summoning Gesture, so that you can pull your swords out from wherever. You have Motive Discerning Technique, Battalion Breaking Shout, Cat's Puffed Tail, Glorious Presence Technique, and Harmonious Presence Meditation as your presence suite.
Yeah.
You have Dragon Graced Weapon, Searing Edge Attack, and Fire Dragon Form as your direct combat charms. Although you do still have, I'll point out, you do still have Cat's Puffed Tail,
which allows you to build power.
Which allows you to build power. So you still have that as well.
There you go.
And that's 9.
Pretty cool.
You do not have an Excellency in close combat yet.
No, that was something that I was thinking about quite strongly because I figured that was important as well. But perhaps...
Now, as the rules state right now, buying another Excellency is considered something that you can do with a personal milestone. They're cheaper because you are essentially buying an Excellency again. Right. Because as Excellencies are described on these sheets, it says, this charm may be purchased more than once, but you must choose a different ability every time. So it counts as a repurchase.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see. Right, of course it is. Yeah.
Right.
No, that makes sense.
And the same for Oxbody. So my suggestion to you is maybe wait and then spend your first bits of experience on buying those Excellencies because you'll be able to relatively easily.
Yep. I have to recalibrate a little bit here in terms of, because combat, is changing, well, and the social system has changed as well to a certain extent. The value of certain things is changing, right? Again, I don't want to get into it in too much detail or whatever, but for a long time, I think, you want to have good dex so you can hit. And then ideally you also have good strength, so you could do a good amount of damage. But if you have a good enough weapon, you don't need strength, really, right? Whereas now it's a question of how are you planning to fight? I find it really exciting.
How you gonna do that shit? Well, you have a force of 4, right?
Yep.
And it implies that you attempt to overwhelm your opponents as opposed to sneaking around their defenses or outlasting them.
Which feels appropriate, yeah.
Yep. Strike first, strike hard.
It's Pyres' motto. It's the House Cathak motto, I think.
House Cathak, right now, its motto seems to be fuck Pyres. We love them, but it comes at a cost.
It's on all the flags. Fuck Pyres.
So let's have a look at what we've got so far.
All right.
Your charms.
Yep.
We've slotted them in there. I haven't actually filled out the rest of the sheet.
Oh, whatever.
We can look at that later. We have your 9 charms. We have your presence excellency and your level of ox body. If we go back to the front of your page,
back to the front,
we can see that you are you're a pretty well-rounded character. You have a lot of 2s. You don't have any 1s. You have a lot of 2s and you have some 3s. So let's actually dive into your abilities just one more time while we're here, and let's see if that still feels correct with what you have. You aren't actually taking any awareness charms at this time.
Right.
Which means that if you took awareness at 2 because you felt like you needed to, this would be an opportunity for you to take 1 or 2 of these dots away and put them somewhere else. I'll remind you that awareness is no longer as critical for combat.
Right. It encapsulates both perceiving things, but also investigation and various kind of. Okay, I understand.
That's right. Your when you are running around trying to hurt things, you do still have a way to get into combat to basically establish initiative. Join battle is an appropriate attribute and an appropriate ability, so it's not necessarily awareness. Right,
because it's not. Yeah, no, I understand. It's interesting. I'm looking at this spread, and I do agree with you. It's not a question of min-maxing or whatever, but I do see a lot of abilities at 2. But would they all be, right? Excuse me. But then I look at all those 2s and I think about would any of them go to 3 if I am considering removing a dot from awareness? And I keep coming back to performance, but I can't quite convince myself of performance yet, because it feels very formal performance, right? Which we haven't had a lot of chance to do.
So if I were to actually make suggestions here, looking at this sheet, I might pull a dot from awareness and put it into embassy.
Embassy, yeah.
I think that embassy is the kind of thing that Pyres probably, even if it's not necessarily something that he's oh yeah, I do this all the time. I think that that's something that he's probably become good at. I think that performance is another option that you could potentially choose to bump up to 3, but if you're not feeling it right now, wait.
Yeah.
We'll increase it later. Physique also seems like it's kind of where it needs to be right now. But I will point out that performance and athletics are the 2 things that are involved in Fire Dragon style.
Right.
So you may want to consider bumping your performance up now.
Or athletics. Athletics 4.
That's another option as well.
It's a lot. It's a lot of athletics, but maybe not the worst. And NFAL's going with the close combat to 5, possibly as well, as an option.
So, Gilligood, you weren't there for the conversation, but in fact, the I'll be more than my house intends falls right now. The reasoning is that it falls more under wonder than it does under ambition, because it isn't a specific, this is what I will be, but more of a, I challenge myself to find out how I may improve and how I may change from what my house intends.
Yeah, I feel like that was a really, great conversation to have, because I feel like that's the element of Pyres that I was always like, this is so important to the character, but also where is it taking me? You know what I mean? And wonder, I feel like, is a way of encapsulating that journey, which is really cool. John, for now, I'm going to take a dot out of awareness and I'm going to put it in athletics. Boom. That's what I'm going to do for now. And we will probably revisit this at some point.
All right. So now we've got a stronger look at close combat and athletics, and presence are the things that you really excel at. War and integrity are still up there. And you still got a very solid grounding in embassy, navigate, performance, and physique.
And none of this smart people stuff.
Well, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
Your merits, artifact, being, hope, and abandon. It's right there. It's all there in the title. You've got Flavienne as an ally.
Just Flavienne, no. No one else.
It's just that we're covering Flavienne with that merit, right?
Right.
The idea that maybe, depending on how the others choose their merits, we'll see what kind of balances out. You have House Cathak as an influence, and you have your former House of Bell students as your contacts.
Right.
But you don't have access to your resources right now.
Interesting.
Although you are dragon-blooded, right? You can buy resources going through.
Yeah, I think once per sesh you get like your essence rating, I think it is, right? Which is feels pretty strong to me.
It's very strong.
You have to, obviously, I'm sure you have to like work it through with the storyteller to be like, oh, I find a bag of money in the street. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you have to work it through in some way.
I just can't wait till you hit like Essence 3 or 4 and you're like, I have to borrow this artifact.
Yeah, I want to go visit Seven Fingers for like 2 seconds.
Right. And yeah, I feel like this is doing a pretty good job of representing Pyres the way that we all know and love him.
Aw, well, know him anyway. No, I'm just kidding. This just this feels really good actually. I'm going to continue my research and reading into Essence, but just to make sure that I understand kind of how the systems work, and like as we start to work getting ready for season 2 as well. Very cool stuff.
Well, that's looking like it's a pretty solid character sheet to throw up there. So
yeah,
you'll have to take a look at it, see what you like, what you don't like, what you want to change. Obviously, you have plenty of time. You don't even have to have a finalized character sheet by the time we start season 2.
Suppose not.
No. But we do have some things coming up over the course of the next few days. You want to let people know?
I ever? The streams are, starting back up in this new space tomorrow night. That's Friday, 1800 Eastern. It's the Punch Effect. It's Mass Effect with Punchy. Liz and I, will be streaming, continuing our Mass Effect playthrough. It's been a blast, but it's been a while. We've had to take a lot of time off for reasons. Saturday.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Yeah, pretty much, right? Saturday at 3 p.m., 1500. We are going to continue Nancy Drew and I think it's the mystery of the ski jump or the secret of the ski. I can't remember. Because they might go to Montreal, and it feels incredible. What a book.
Is it Montreal or is it like Mont Tremblant?
Well, this is the thing, John, right? They're saying like, oh, great skiing in Montreal. And I was like, I mean, there are some at that time, but like, I'm sure they mean a mountain.
Cap Saint-Jacques or like Mount Royal for cross-country skiing.
Yeah, on the stream a few weeks back, we were doing some research. There used to be downhill skiing on the mountain in like the 40s. I don't know if that's what they're referring to, which is pretty cool.
Wasn't great.
No, probably not very safe either. I tend to stream on Saturday nights. I probably won't this coming Saturday night, but you can trust that as of next week, so into late June, early July, I'll be back to my usual streaming schedule. And then on Sunday, do you want me to say it?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, Sunday at 1800. It's a one-shot run by the one, the only Zen Robo, Kate. We are playing Lasers and Feelings.
We're gonna pew pew and we're gonna thump thump. That's the way it goes.
Pew thump, exactly. And then sometimes you have laser feelings, which are great. Feels great.
I'm really looking forward to all of that. I'm also looking forward to getting back into Exalted Witch Academy with Season 2. Our Session 0 for Season 2 will be July 4th, where we'll be talking about the previous campaign and talking about where we are in the future. We've already got our synopsis video scripted out. We'll have to find some time to record that. And we are looking to then start Exalted Witch Academy Season 2, now with Essence, on July 11th.
Now with Essence.
Now with Essence. We had no Essence before. There was no Essence.
No.
There was no je ne sais quoi.
Essence of Academy. Feels like
from Calvin Klein.
This has been great, John.
Thank you. No thanks.
I feel like it's been really great to sort of like, it's always cool to revisit a character in a new system, to be like, okay, hang on, this system values these things, but like my character is built on these things. You know what I mean? Like, how do I, especially if you came at the character from a mechanical perspective in the first place, how do you find a way over into a new thing? It's been really cool.
Well, we're gonna find out how it goes and whether we need to make any changes. But for now, I'm just going to encourage everybody out there that if you are sitting with your gaming group and things aren't going the way that you would like them to be, and you do want to do something about it, your best bet, while it may not always be easy, is to use your word hole. Thanks for coming, Scott.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
We'll see you next time.